Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. We're going to be focusing in on this little area over here and what we need to see for both our bullish case, where we could see a potential break to the upside here, as well as the more bearish case where we are looking for that continuation to the downside. Now, there's a couple of ways we've been discussing this. Within some of the ideas, we could be potentially looking for a bigger B wave here, where we're looking for a bounce up into this higher level of this 30,284 to this 27,610 level. Now, if this is the case, we could also have this B wave already completed and we're looking to break down directly. One-to-one area is going to be this 22,264 level. Now, within this idea, what we'd be saying is that we're actually looking for a bigger corrective structure here to the upside. It is possible that we could complete here, but this will be covered by one of the other counts. So in this case, what I'm looking for is the possibility we could still be looking for a bigger flat correction here in this bigger A, B, and C pattern. Now, given the current low that we've got here, our typical target for a flat would actually be up here towards this 29,856 to this 28,608 level. So what we'd be expecting if this white wave count is not going to actually play out to the downside here is that we could be looking for this potentially as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're going to see a push up into these higher levels. Now, within this idea, this would then mean that we need to maintain this low, which is sitting here towards this level of this 24,901, and what we'd be looking for would be a 5-wave move, like I said, up into these higher zones. Now, if we are looking at this slightly different, we could also argue that we are still within the white B wave here, and what we'd be saying is that this could become A, B, and C to the downside. Now, currently our one-to-one level is down here at this 23,932. If we do get an ABC to the downside like this, there's a couple of things that this can be. So we're going to go over some alternatives if we do get this additional C wave down here. But what we'd be looking for as a typical B wave overshooting zone would be here between this 25,166 to this 24,113. So what we'd want to see here is this completion of this B wave and then seeing a clean 5-wave structure looking to push us back down into these levels. Like I said, that one-to-ones here. We do have some other zones here of the 786 and this 854, which are lining up quite nicely towards the 1.236 over here at this 24,510. So I'm going to be watching out for this if we do see price continuing to break to the downside. Now, it is also possible here that we could be looking to break to the upside from this point, where we're looking for that 5-wave move. Now, within this idea here, if we come down a bit more locally, what we are saying is that we could potentially be looking at this move as a bigger A, a B, and a C pattern. So we can't rule out the idea here that we still have another push down first, even if we are looking for that possibility of a break to the upside. Now, it is always possible that this low in place over here could be enough to actually correct this move, and we could be starting to form a bigger impulse to the upside directly. Now, we're going to go over that in a second, but within this idea, what we're saying is that this is A, this is B, and then we're looking for the C wave down. So our common zone we'll be looking for here would be this 50% at this 25,720 to this 25,248. So this is looking for that idea of having a C wave to the upside. Now, within this, if we are looking for this C wave to the downside, what we would be expecting is to remain below this 26,541, and we'd be looking to actually set up here an additional 5-wave structure where this becomes 1, 2, and effectively where we are now is pretty much right in that sweet spot for a rejection. It's going to throw this B wave area on here. We've come up into that golden pocket area. Now, it is possible for us to move up higher, but I wouldn't really want to see a move too much higher than this 26,453. Otherwise, it becomes more likely that we got something else going on here. Now, within this idea, what we'd be saying is that this would be 1, 2, we'd be looking for a 3rd wave. Now, if we reject it off of where we are and we do start to break down, 25,725 is going to be that sweet spot that we want to see for that 1.618 of this first leg to the downside. Now, if we do see this play out where this becomes 1, 2, 3, we'd be expecting a 4th wave up here, not crossing this wave 1, and then looking for a 5th wave back to the downside towards this 25,668 to this 25,574. Now, if I overlay the other count, we can see how this would actually look to push us back down in between this 50% and this 0.618 level. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a move into this golden pocket area if we do see price looking to extend to the downside here. So going to be watching out for this as long as we actually remain below this 26,541. So this is the count where we're looking for basically a little bit of a push to the upside here in a bigger flat correction. Like I said, we're looking for the potential of actually having this C wave play out here, where we're looking for this higher area here of this 1.618 to this 1236. Now this is valid for as long as we hold this low. It is also possible that if we do start to form a bigger impulse to the downside, that this could still look to play out as a bigger flat correction. So we're going to have to watch this lower target box area here to see if we do start to get a reaction off of these zones. Now the other way we're discussing these moves is saying that potentially what we have here is a bigger 5-wave structure where we're looking for a C wave from this high, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're looking for that 5th wave. Now this is the count that we're looking for here. Like I said, the problem is that we have actually moved down towards this 1-to-1 already of the wave 1. So if this is the case, we can potentially look for a reversal to the upside here. Now the problem is it counts much cleaner into this low here. If we are looking at this, then that means that this is a flat. Now if this is a flat over here, this means that either this is a connector wave and we're looking to continue to push down, or this is becoming the first leg of a bigger move to the upside here, where we're looking for that continuation up. We could also argue that this is W, X, and Y, because this move to the downside hits that 1.618 of this, but it does look more like a 5-wave move in structure. So we're going to have to just be a bit patient to see how the market responds here, but effectively, I'm just open to the interpretation that this is also just a 3-wave move down, and we could potentially, move from this up in that 5-wave structure. So within this idea, though, we're looking for the potential that we could still be within the 5th. Now, the common target zone here would be 24,514 to this 23,949, but we have already hit this target. If we do have a bigger drop coming here, this could be looking at the move in this way. Now, this aligns both with the idea of an extension here, where this could be 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we're looking to extend out, or alternatively, that this is becoming A, B, and C, like we discussed in the previous example, that B wave could already be into this high. So it's going to be very important here until we actually break 28,142. We need to be very careful of these more bearish counts where we could still continue to see price looking to push to the downside. If we do continue to hold this low that we've got over here and we find support on the retracement and then we start to push up in a bigger way and we look to take this high, this would at least then invalidate the idea of this bigger extension to the downside. Now within this, we've come up into our most common target area here for a flat correction, which is between this 382 and this 50%. So we need to be careful of the idea that we could start to see a bigger drop to the downside. Now, given our current structure here, our 1.618 is sitting here at this 22,414, and this would align with seeing a bigger drop here where we would be looking for a 5-wave move down into these zones, 3 waves up, another 5-wave move down here, and our common target area would be this 22,070 to this 21,523. Now the problem is if we do move down past 20,903, we could potentially be looking at a bigger 5-wave move here, and then effectively this would mean that we have a big 5-wave structure off this high, which would be a bit worrying because as a C wave it would be extending quite a lot. If that's the case, it is still possible to see this, but it's more likely that if we start to break down to some of those lower levels, that we have something else going on. Now we were talking about that possibility of an ABC down. Now if we do get this idea of a bigger ABC pattern to the downside here, same sort of thing is going to be in play, in my opinion. We need to be careful that this could just become A, B, C to the downside, and then we just get 3 waves back to the upside. Now, a 1-to-1 target to the downside for an ABC pattern, based off of this being a flat, would be this 23,925. This would look to push us back down here, looking to sweep these lows one more time. And effectively, what we would then expect is a 3-wave move up and another 3-wave move to the downside. So the key thing here is that if we do get another push down towards this level, it's going to be key how we respond afterwards. If we are looking at this as a bigger flat correction where this is A, B, and C, what we would expect is a big 5-wave move to the upside here, looking to take this high. If we just get 3 waves up, this would align more with this diagonal idea where this becomes 3, 4, and 5. And then we'd be potentially looking for that push to the upside from that point. So the diagonal falls into the idea that from further back here, we have this as a bigger A, B, and a C. And what this would then be meaning is that we're still looking for a little bit more of a push to the downside, looking to target out this lower area of this 24,691 to this 23,646 as a possible zone that we could look to complete. So it's going to be interesting to see how we progress from this point. There is possibility of a break to the upside, but we need to see whether we can overcome these levels first, because until we actually break back above these zones, the likelihood is, because we have a 5-wave move here, that we're going to see that continuation down. But we need to just obviously see what the market tells us here, see how we respond to those key support zones and to those key levels, and then go from that point. Now, if we are looking for the idea that, this breakout could be looking to push up directly from this point, so this would be looking for a direct breakout from this area, where what we would then have is that this is wave 1, 2, and then we'd be looking for either a third wave, or we'd be looking for the idea that this is a ABC. Now, it is possible for this to be an ABC. It wouldn't really fit the structure that well, though. If we do get, another move up here in 3 waves, it would be a bit confusing as to how that fits into this idea here. We'd have to start being careful that there isn't something like a triangle playing out here then, where this is A, B, C, D, and E, and then we'll still look for continuation down. But yeah, effectively what I'm looking for here is, as long as we stay above 25,764, what we could see is just have a 3-wave move to the downside here. Now, the problem is it's actually much cleaner to count this as a 5-wave structure into this high, in which case what we could say is that this is A, B, and then we're going to see one more push to the downside. Now, the zone that I would be looking to hold is this 25,900. I wouldn't want to see a break above this if we're going to see a direct break to the upside. I would also be looking out for that potential that, we see one more push down here, looking to bring us back down into this zone of this 2682 to this 25,900. Invalidation is here. What we'd be looking for from that point would then be looking for a rally to the upside, looking to hit this 1.618 of this first leg to the upside for more confirmation. But we'd have to get over this resistance level that we've got in the red here, which is sitting between this 26,452 and this 26,333 until we actually break back above this zone. We need to just be mindful that we do have other counts here which are looking for a break of this level. So it's going to be interesting to see how we respond to this. If we continue to hold these levels here, there is always the possibility that we could have this already as 1, 2 into this low over here. And if we do have that as a 1, 2 into that low, this could mean that we could start to build directly from this point, but then it would mean that we can't cross 26,130. What we'd then be saying is that over here we have potentially a 1, 2, another 1, 2, then we'd be looking for something like a bigger break to the upside in a third, fourth, and a fifth, and then that would potentially look to extend us up here in a bigger way. And then we'd be looking to actually see how the structure develops and which targets get hit here, because if we start to extend, given our target here, we want to hit 26,641. But if it does start to extend out further, we could hit as high as 26,871 as a potential target for a 2.618 if we do start to get some further extension within the wave. So we don't really have anything indicating that, this is breaking up at this point. And until we actually break back above this red rejection area, I would just be careful that this move isn't just becoming a bigger WXY pattern, and we're going to see another push down into these levels, or alternatively we have that count where this becomes 1, 2, and then we could start to see a bigger 5-wave move to the downside here, which would align with the idea that this is becoming a bigger ABC pattern. If this low still continues to hold, then we have that idea that, we can still look for this break to the upside here. Once again, 1-to-1 would be towards this 27,322, and the 1.618 would be up here towards this 28,438. That would be based off of coming back into 25,608. So going to be watching these zones to see how the price action actually, plays out here, to see whether we do continue to push to the upside. We also discussed the idea that this could be a bigger corrective structure forming here. where what we could have is that this is actually an A wave here. We have this as a bigger ABC pattern still looking to play out, which could look to move us into the green box area here of 25,883 to this 25,567. So there's a few of these counts are just still calling for, another push down here, and then I'd want to see how we react from this point. If we start to get 5-wave moves to the upside, then potentially we could be looking for that extension up in that C wave. Alternatively, this could also just become bigger A, B, and then we get a C wave where we could look to push up towards the zone of this 27,275 to this 26,970. Once again, until we actually break back above this high of this 28,153, the likelihood is still pointing more to the downside, but we are showing a bit of strength and holding the support zone here. So gonna have to keep an eye on to see how we react, particularly within our bullish case where we're looking for that breakout. We want to see us hold this 25,248 level on any kind of a retracement here, until we actually hold this and see this additional break to the upside. We need to just be cautious of that possibility of seeing another move to the downside. Coming in here and having a look at the daily CPR lines, we can see that we're continuing to print higher CPR lines here. Now it is possible that we can always look to reverse from this point because the overall trend of these CPRs is still down at the moment. But what I want to see is that if we do continue to hold this 26,170 to this 26,082, we could see price looking to rally to the upside. Targets for today would be 26,767, 27,143, and this 27,407. However, if we do continue to push down here, because we have had an interaction with this R1 line already, what we could see is price could actually look to come back down and look to test out this S1 line or this previous daily low here at this 25,762. So this would align with the idea of that bigger 5-wave move down potentially, or this just becoming a bigger ABC pattern. Now, if we do continue to hold this level, we could potentially look to rally off that point. Other targets to the downside would be 25,491, 25,219, and this 24,844 as potential downside targets for today. So going to be keeping an eye on those levels. Moving over here onto the weekly CPR lines, what we can see is that we have actually rallied off of our central lines here and pushed up back into our R1 line here at this 26,403. If we do continue to hold above these central lines here, we do always have the possibility of moving up to test some of these other areas. 26,954 and this 27,479 are the two targets above that we haven't tested as of yet. If, however, we start to lose these central lines between this 25,912 and this 25,853, we could potentially come back down here and look to revisit 25,325 as a test of this S1 line, which would be quite an interesting level to come back and back test, to be honest. Alternatively, if we lose that, we have 24,820 and this 24,263 as potential downside targets for this week. Now, moving over here and having a look at the monthly pivots, we can see that we've interacted once again with this lower line here. If we continue to reject off this level, we need to be careful of that possibility of pushing back down here towards this 23,957 zone, which would align with pushing us back down into this S1 line here. Now, if we do continue to hold that S1 line, we could potentially look at the idea here where this becomes A, B, and C, and then we could either rally in that C wave, or alternatively we could see something like this where we see a 3-wave move back up, making this a diagonal, looking to retest this level again, and then seeing 3 waves back down. So that's what I'm going to be watching out for here. Within the more bearish idea, if we start to lose this 23,977, I will be looking for 22,042 and 18,899 as a potential target to the downside. If we do manage to start reclaiming this line, we could potentially find resistance at 27,081. We have 27,746 as other targets to the upside. If we do move through these levels, other targets would be 29,076. We have 32,201 and this 34,114 as potential upside targets for this month. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Take care.